Welcome to today's workshop, What to Ask the Teacher During a Parent-Teacher Conference. We're going to have approximately about 6 objectives today. The first one is we're going to talk about the importance of a parent-teacher conference. We're also going to be talking about tips, certain things that you can ask the teacher and some of the things you can do. We're also going to be talking about how to use the curriculum guides. Lastly, we're going to be talking about next steps, the things that parents and families can do to support your child academically, and then we're going to give you some resources for that as well. So, why are parent-teacher conferences important? Well, there are several reasons. One is to meet and work collaboratively with your child's teacher. The second is to learn how your child is doing in the class. Thirdly, learn what your child needs to do to be successful in that class. And lastly, to learn how you can best support your child at home during in-person or remote learning. Now, district-wide, the fall conferences for 2020 will be starting October 13th through the 30th. So during this time, teachers will be reaching out to you parents to schedule conferences. All the teachers have a designated time during the day to conference with you, so they'll make arrangements with you as far as when the conference time will happen. The conferences, on a side note, can be held anytime during the school year. The October 13th through the 30th is just a district-wide expectation for teachers to reach out to parents, but you as parents have the ability to schedule a parent-teacher conference with your child's teacher anytime during the school year. Now, I'm going to share just a few tips on how to have a parent-teacher conference. So one is, I think it's very important, is to take notes and share information about your child with the teacher. So for example, if you have questions that you want to ask the teacher, it might be a good idea to write them down just for like a memory aid. Also, I think it's really important to share information with your child's teacher if you think that that information will benefit your child and the teacher and as they work collaboratively. For example, unfortunately, sometimes there's deaths in the family. So let's say there's a death in the family, and if you feel the teacher needs to know that, so she can be aware of maybe your child maybe seem a little sad, maybe a little tearful during the Zoom meeting, I think information like that is important. The other important thing, a tip for parents, is to follow up with your child's teacher every 9 weeks to review their progress. Again, you can follow up with the teachers at any time in the school year, but at a minimum, we encourage you to meet with the teacher every 9 weeks just to review how your child is doing in that class. The other tip is to create an account on the new parent portal and also on the Canvas. So those are 2 accounts that we encourage you to log on. If you haven't already, sign on, get an account. We also offer sessions during our Family Power Hour on how to get a parent portal account as well as a Canvas if you don't have it yet. Now, you also might want to share with teachers things or ways that you would like to be involved in your child's learning. So sometimes some teachers have like a career day, and if that's something that you would like to share or partake in, or if you know somebody who would be willing to be a presenter at a career day, this would be a good way to let the teacher know, hey, I'm a resource for you, this is what I can provide. Now, questions to ask your teacher. I'm going to review these questions, but they're also on our website, and I'll show you in a few minutes where to find these questions. So one of the questions that you might ask is my child making an effort to learn in your class? Now, we know right now a lot of the classes are on Zoom, so we want to know from your child's teacher, is your child participating? Are they making an effort? Are they turning on their cameras? Are they turning on their mics? Are they participating? These are great questions to ask your child's teacher. Another question is, does my child come prepared to your class? Again, because this learning is new for students, for teachers, and even for us and you as parents, we need to make sure that our children are getting the correct information from the teachers and they know what to bring to class. Because sometimes if your child, for example, is in middle or high school, they may have 8 classes. So in those 8 classes, every class, every teacher may have different expectations. So again, in meeting with your teacher, ask, is my child coming prepared? Because sometimes it's just a lot of information, and children could get a little bit confused as far as what the expectation is of what they need to bring to class. So ask your child's teacher, are they prepared when they come to your class? Does my child do their work or turn in homework? That's another very important question because, again, this type of learning is very new to all children as well as teachers. And sometimes there may be a little getting used to. So, again, asking the teacher, does my child turn in their assignments, their homework? Do they do their quizzes? Are they turning it in? That's another great question. How does my child participate in class? So, every child is a little bit different. There's some children are more vocal, they're more verbal, they're able to express themselves with words. Other children tend to do better with reading or typing or more tactile stuff, like in the classroom that they can touch and see. Ask your teacher, is my child participating? And that's also to ensure that your child is participating to the best of their ability, right? Again, because every child learns differently, every child participates differently. So ask the teacher, what's the expectation in your class on how my child should participate? And then share with them, this is the best way that I see that my child can participate. And again, having those conversations are extremely crucial. And all of this is for the benefit of your child. So again, communicating with the teachers, is my child participating? How are they participating? Or how can you assist in encouraging your child to participate in that class? Do you offer tutoring before or after school? Most teachers offer tutoring. And if you, once you get on your campus app, on the calendar section, teachers will put their tutoring dates and times on the particular week and the particular time. So if you haven't seen the calendar yet or your child has not seen it yet, ask the teacher, when is their tutoring, before or after school? And this is very important, just in case your child you see is maybe falling a little behind, or if your child comes to you and says, hey, mom, dad, grandma, I'm not really sure what's going on. Again, asking the teacher, when is your tutoring, before or after school? The other very important question is, how can I help my child at home? Now, I know a lot of parents have been probably a little bit worrying about how to teach their child in class, how to teach the class to your child. We don't expect you to be teachers. All the expectation is for you to help your child understand some of the information. So if you're having a difficult time understanding the information, because for example, when my son was in high school and he had like calculus or something, I had no clue of how to help him with calculus. But the important thing is that I knew that I could reach out to the teacher and ask for support. What are some things, Miss Garcia, that I can do to help my child with calculus? Again, just reaching out to your teacher, asking that question, how can I help my child? The other one is, what time is your conference period? When we talk about parent-teacher conferences, like I mentioned earlier, every teacher has a designated time during the day to meet and talk with parents. So that's going to be very, very important for you to ask your child's teachers, when is your conference period? Another tip, it would be important, is to know what is the best way to communicate with the teacher, right? Does the teacher, will she respond a little bit faster to a phone call, to an email, a text? So ask the teacher, what is the best way to get a hold of you? And at the same time, you can let the teacher know what is the best way that they can get a hold of you. So using curriculum guides. We also have a workshop with Family Power Hour on how to use these curriculum guides. So I'm going to go over what they are and how to access them. And again, this is a guide, this is a tool that you can use during the parent-teacher conferences. So a curriculum guide is basically a tool that's used to monitor and support your child's at-home learning while they're either remote learning or in person. Okay, so it's just a guide. It's something to help you know what your child is doing in every class. Now, these are some of the benefits. It informs parents, again, of what their child is learning every 9 weeks in every subject. So if your child has math, science, history, social studies, Those 4 classes, each one will have a curriculum guide, and it will be updated every 9 weeks. And I'll show you one in a second. Also, the curriculum guides are important because they inform parents of what the learning targets are. What are your children supposed to be learning that 9 weeks in that particular subject? It will also show the goals. What are the targets? What is the expectation? What do we want them to learn? Again, and it'll be in every subject. Another benefit is that it'll give you, parents, it'll equip you with a tool to academically support your child in every subject. It's just going to be more information that you can use to support your child. Also, it would provide you parents questions on how to engage your child at home. And I'll show you what some of those questions are in a second. So how to get to these curriculum guides. First, you visit www.sisd.net/parents and students. Okay, so again, parents and students is the website. If you visit this website, under quick links, you're going to click on parent-teacher conference resources. And I'll show you in a second how to access that. The third thing is on the right side of the screen, you're going to select your child's grade and their subject. Those are the things that you're going to want to know. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to share the screen of how to access these guides. So if you give me a second, let me stop sharing this. And then let me share it. How to access. Okay. Can everyone see that? All right. So the easiest way is if you just want to go to our website, right? www.sisd.net. And then you're going to see this right here, parents and students. This is going to be a vital link that you need to maybe have it on your browser or saved as a favorite, because that's going to give you tons of information on how parents and students can work together collaboratively with the school so we can make sure that your student is successful. So when you click on that, here are the quick links that we talked about. All these quick links, it's just vital information. I'm going to encourage you to visit these links and see what we have to offer. In this particular link, if you notice here, this is the parent-teacher conference. This is what we're going to click on, okay, to find these guides. So on the left here, you're going to see parent-teacher conferences at SAIC. It tells you the date that we mentioned earlier. They'll be happening between October 13th through the 30th. And then here are some of those tips for review and some of the questions. So don't feel like you have to write everything down because it's here on the internet. It's also, you can view it in English or Spanish, whatever you prefer. And then over here to the right, this is where the curriculum guides are, the ones we went over. It'll, again, give you the benefits, the information we reviewed. It'll tell you how to use the curriculum guides and how we kind of shared that with you. But here, I'm going to show you what they look like. So for example, if your child is in kinder, these are the subjects that your child will be taking during the second 9 weeks. So second 9 weeks, let's click on math. And if you notice, there's a /matemáticas. So it's in English and Spanish. All our guides are in English and Spanish. So you're going to click here on matemáticas, and this is what you're going to see. For example, because it's the second 9 weeks, this will be Unit 3. Because in the first 9 weeks, it was probably Unit 1 and 2. So now we're in the second 9 weeks, so it'll be Unit 3. So your child will be learning about geometry with data. And then these are the targets, student learning target. This is what the teacher is trying to help your child learn in this class, in math. For example, it says, I can recognize and name 2 and 3 dimensional shapes or solids. So those are some of the targets your child one of the targets that your child will be learning during this Unit 3. Now, this is the one that is really, really exciting for us to share with you, is the questions to check for unit understanding. Now, these questions are questions that the teacher asks the student, but you as parents, as family, can also ask to ensure that your child is learning or reaching these target areas. So one of the questions would be, what characteristics make a shape two-dimensional? So that's a question you can ask your child to see if they understand what the target is. And again, this information, the targets, these are the things that teachers are going to be teaching. And these are the questions that you as parents and family can ask your child. Now, some of the key academic vocabularies, words that are needed for this geometry with data is attribute, and it gives you the definition, right? Real graph, it gives you the definition. So this is just to kind of perk your ears up when your child is answering some of these questions. That these are the keywords that they need to be using or learning. Now, let's say that you ask maybe a question, what is data? And this questions to check for understanding. Let's say you ask your child, what is data? And your child may say like, Mom, Dad, Grandma, I'm not really sure. This is a great tool that you can go back and talk with the teacher during your parent-teacher conference and say, hey, my child doesn't understand what data is. Can you help them? Can you explain to me so I can share the information? Again, these are great questions that will let you know if your child is understanding the information. And if they are, great, perfect, because that's our goal. But if they're not, because it's a lot of information, again, you can go back, reach out to the teacher, and let them know. I asked my child these questions in the curriculum guide, and they don't seem to understand, or they seem a little confused, whatever the case may be. Again, these are questions that are great to ask your child and have conversations with your child's teacher. And if you notice, it goes on and on. You click on pre-K here. So there's pre-K, kinder, goes all the way through high school. So again, like click on high school, and it'll tell you the second 9 weeks, and these are the subjects that your children will be taking in high school. First 9 weeks, second 9 weeks. So that's how to access them. Now, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. So, your next steps. These are the next steps for you as parents. Make sure that your child's information, like the phone number, your home number, your emails, all that is correct in your child's profile at the school. So again, make sure that your child's school has the correct contact information for you. And this is so it'll be easier to communicate with you, and you can also, the teachers can set up these parent-teacher conferences with you. We mentioned again the Frontline Parent Portal. That's the new parent portal that we're using this year, and then the Canvas account. And I know in the past, parents have asked, families have asked, what is the difference between Frontline Parent Portal and a Canvas account? This Frontline Parent Portal is going to give you your child's grades, their attendance. You'll be able to change, let's say your contact information changes. If you have an account, you're able to do that on the account. Now, the Canvas account, this is a learning management system, and this system is the one that your teacher and your child use to communicate about academics, right? What assignments are due, what projects are due, what tests are coming up, what's missing, what's not missing, how to organize the assignments, and you can have access to this as well, so you can kind of see what your child is doing in every class. So it's important to have both of these accounts. Another step would be to review, again, your child's curriculum guide for every subject. You could even share it with your child and say, hey, I was looking at these questions. Like, do you understand some of these questions? Have you all talked about these questions? Again, educators don't expect parents to have all the answers to those questions, but at least it's conversation, right, with our kiddos, so we know where they're at. And if they're struggling, we know to reach out to the teacher and let them know what they're struggling in. And then another step would be, again, write your questions down or any information that you want to share with the child's teacher. Sometimes I know for myself, if I get a lot of information or it's coming too quickly, I tend to kind of forget at times because it's an overload, because I'm not used to that information. But it's always real important. If you notice, I write everything down. It helps you just kind of stay organized and on track of what you need to say with the teacher, or what you need to tell the teacher, and what the teacher needs to share with you. It's important to write it down. Parent resources. So we have tons of parent resources, and I just showed you one on the parent and students website. But that, like I mentioned earlier, is a website that is very, very important, and it's going to have a lot of information that you would need just to learn about what's going on with your child in school, any upcoming events. The other website, and I'm sure you visited because I'm hoping that's how you got to this workshop, it's our Family Power Hour workshops. And those are located on www.sasd.net parent workshops. On that page, you're always going to see three sections. And I'll show it to you in a second. One section is on Canvas. It's going to be explaining to you how to access an account if you don't have it yet, or how to navigate the account. We also have those sessions on video on demand. So if you can't attend the session, you're always more than welcome to visit the site and you can see the recording of that workshop. It also will have a section on assessments, and they vary depending on your child's grade level. But just earlier this morning, we had a workshop on the ACT and the SAT for high school students. We're also going to have a session on EOCs, which is the end of course exam, or for the little ones, it's called STAR. So all these assessments, they're going to be available to you so you can learn a little bit more about them. Like, what are they? When are they going to be taken? What do I have to do as a parent to support my child when they take that assessment? And then last but not least, a great, great resource, and I'm going to strongly encourage all families and all parents to contact your child's teacher. Again, this is a very transitional time for a lot of our students and a lot of our teachers. And so sometimes we might miss the connection or we might not understand the connection. So if you don't understand something or you have questions about something or you have a comment about something that your child's doing in class, please, please, I'm going to encourage you to reach out to that teacher, reach out, because that's the best way that we're going to be able to work collaboratively, work together, so that your child can get the best education that SAISD. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'll give you a few minutes if you would like to ask some questions.